Hey, poker people. Thank you so much for tuning into another day of a hand reading. As you can see right there, today is day 35 of 66 days in a row. We're beyond the halfway point. We're on the downhill slope, heading towards home. I guess we've got quite a ways to go, but we are heading there, day 35 of 66. So today we are doing the heroes range, and it's not going to be me as the hero. We're going to look at another one of my winning opponents and hand read their hands. One of their hands that went to showdown, of course. So we spent the past two hands doing some big hand reading, 3,500 hands we have on them. Now let's look for another player that we have a pretty darn decent size, hands on. We have a pretty decent number of hands on this player. 1000 NA NL 25 AGA. I'm just going to call him 1000. Nice and simple. So 1000 here. I have 2,700 hands on him. He's a 24-19 player. So he's getting to, he's between the tight aggressive and loose aggressive, getting to be the loose aggressive. 3, his AF is 3 right there. Pretty darn aggressive aggression factor. It is the ratio of aggressive plays to calls. So bets and raises. Bets plus raises divided by the number of calls is what that is. Attempt to steal 38%. Folding to 3 bets only 51% right here. Folding to steal 77%. So this guy likes to fight for pots for sure. And a bit aggressive post flop as we see by that 3 on the AF. So let's go ahead and take a look at him then. We got to find some hands from him. Doesn't look like I have him pulled up. 1000 underscore. Oh, there he was. Cool. So now we go to the statistics tab with this player in mind here, taking a look at all of his hands. And he's on the winning network ACR. It's fine. The bummer thing is he's on ACR. If we do a hand reading exercise, let's just pick a random hand right here. I don't even know if this one went to showdown, but let's just see. Went to showdown. Yeah, exactly. And so we don't even get to see his hand because on ACR, the loser, we don't get to see. We don't get to confirm their read or the read on them. So this is what we're going to do. Instead of the heroes range, we'll do something slightly different. We will look at range versus range so that we can verify that one of them is correct for sure. So here's the range versus range. At the end, most likely we're only going to get to confirm one or the other. But, whichever one it is, we'll know if we're right or wrong on that range right there. And we could also probably put in some good assumptions on the other player as well. So in this hand, for example, with all of that action, now we get to confirm this player's final hand. Maybe we can assume there that he didn't win, so he didn't have top pair. He didn't have a straight. He didn't even have 2 pair. So we can make some assumptions based on what we don't get to see at the end from the loser's hand. Cool, but that's not the hand that we're going to look at. What we want to do, of course, is filter, river, saw, showdown, baby. Okay, good. Now let's take a look at some various actions, street by street. I don't automatically start it off. Raise, bet, and then check the river. That's not so bad. Check, call. Raise, re-raise, check, bet. This might be an interesting hand with a lot of pre-flop action, and then not so much action here on that board. Let's check out this hand. Don't know what we're going to see. Oh, and of course, we need Flopzilla open. So let me open up a second window of Flopzilla. Got hold EQ coming up as well, of course. And I know you guys have seen me do this before. Tie in this top window to the top Flopzilla, this bottom one here to the bottom window. Good. So pocket 5s versus queen 8 suited. Pocket 5s slightly ahead right there versus those two. So we got those going. We've got our split suit templates right here. Looking good. And lastly, we got to pull that hand back up. All right, sorry for so many windows, but Just the way it is when you're hand reading both ranges. So 1,000, who is our hero in the hand, opens right here. It's fuzzy. Ooh, 3 bets, lovely. And then as we saw from the pre-flop action, we get a 4 bet, rad, to $6. And then just a call from this loose aggressive player who only 4% 3 betting right here, which has been 20% on the button, 1 out of 5, right? Yeah, 1 out of 5 instances on the button. So it could just be a button re-steal, but then with some kind of equity just makes the call. So let's try to figure this out. We have an open and then a 4 bet. What is his first MP open raising range? 24% of the time is his raise first in. So we can start here by just looking at, nice and simple. Let's start with a 25% raising range. So this is his full, probably pre-flop raising range. Maybe we can add these in, maybe take a few of these puppies away. Whoops, take that out. And so maybe we're stuck with this at his pre-flop raising range. Also, of course, raising ranges depend on who is still in the pot at any given time. So this is his raising range, but we saw him make a 4 bet over this loose aggressive player. So these 72 stats, these 72 hands are what I have on this player. Who knows what his read is? Most likely, he's loose aggressive in his database as well, right? So what are you going to 4 bet versus a loose aggressive 3 better? Whoops. Just starting to take away some hands there, kind of going gradually, little by little. Those are possible to 4 bet re-steal if that's what he's doing. Let's see here. Probably not these. A lot of the hands that I just unclicked or deselected would be calling instead of 4 betting. It's possible these could. And the reason why I say is because I've seen plenty of people, and I do it myself, I 4 bet with these hands. Let's see here. If we look at his fold to 3 bet, his 4 bet total is 12% of the time. In the MP, 25%. So far, he hasn't 4 bet that much from the MP. So we can put this more on a value range. It's possible some re-steals, but we won't keep too many. So the suited aces right there, these bad boys. I think these are often calling. Those might just be calling. I like this as the range. So you can see we're putting them on a pretty narrow 4 betting range right here. Your pre-flop range, but as we know, it's the hero. Whoops, forgot the numbers. 8% and 104. Eight 89472 Wait, was there an O at the end? Yeah. Yes, there was. Good. I guess I don't need that because we got the flop turn river down here, but whatevs. Great. So we go back to this hand. So we expect him to have a very narrow range. Now, this player, who is loose aggressive, folding the 3 bets, what does he fold to 4 bets here? Whoops. Fold to 4 bet. Oh, 0. Haven't seen any 4 bets yet. Makes sense. It's only 72 hands. But with a rather, for the most part, kind of a narrow 3 betting range, we can assume that, yeah, he's 3 betting kind of a value heavy range, but he probably doesn't have aces, kings in his range right here. He's probably calling with ace, king, queens and worse, that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at that range. Let's first select, go and select a 3 betting range. Let's give him a rather, not too wide, maybe right here, 8% 3 betting range. And we could toss in some of these, the hands that people do like to 3 bet bluff with, but he called the 4 bet, so let's not put these in necessarily. He called instead of 5 betting. Let's take these out. Now, these can be in some players' 4 bet calling range for sure, because they want to, you know, under-rep their hand and make 1,000 here think that he does not have aces or kings. So it's possible it's in the calling range. But, whoops. Let's see, 225, so that's 450. So it's like 1.5 or 2.5x, I'm sorry, which is a pretty decent size, almost 3x right here. So it feels like it's mostly for value, so he's probably going to be calling on a very tight range. Maybe 10s. Whoops, maybe 10s are calling. Let's put the king, queen. Ace, jack. Yeah, that can possibly call. Okay, so you can see in a 4-bet pot, we're starting off with super narrow ranges. 4%, 58 combos for this player. And of course, the more narrow the range that you start with pre-flop, the more likely that you're going to be wrong with your hand reading practice. So, because it's very possible that this guy's actually calling all the way down to 7s. Who knows, but it's possible. It's very possible that this guy's actually 4-betting all of his aces as semi-bluffs. Who knows, though? I'm not going to say that he is, but it's always possible. 4-bet pots, you got to start everybody off with a pre-flop, more narrow range. 8%, 76 combos. Flop comes. What does the flop come? Let's see here. Oh, before we get to the flop, $12 pot, 1.5x behind. So 1.5 stack to pot ratio. King, 10, 7, diamond, club, heart. So on this flop, let's look at our hero's range. The more narrow, I'm sorry, not the more narrow, the more overall stronger range because of the aces and kings currently has 46% equity. But this range here, because of course, oh wait a second, I didn't mean to put these in the range. Let's take these out. Okay, 4%, 58 combos. My bad. Because I remember clicking them, but I didn't deselect them. So he's calling here. That looks good to me. Glad I caught that. 4%, 58 combos. Very narrow calling range right here. Flop came down. King, 10, 7, diamond, club, heart. So on this board right here, you can see our opponent does have a set of 10s, one nutted hand right here, and the rest not even any open, and there's quite a few top pairs in this range right here with those various kings and stuff. And but it does have 57% equity. Our slightly wider range, which didn't hit, maybe there's some pairs and stuff, but these completely whiffed except for a backdoor draw. Some of these whiffed right here. And pocket pairs, sure, we have a set of 10s and a set of kings and an overpair, but for the most part, we have so many more hands that don't have much equity. We flopped a little ugly for us at just 43% equity. King of diamonds, 10 clubs, 7 heart, 43. Our opponent has 57% equity because of the more narrow and stronger range. Now, what's the action? Check? Check. Okay, well, the pot is so big, nobody probably feels the necessity to bet right now in order to build the pot. They can both have their nuts, they can both have their draws, they can both have their complete whiffs for checking here. It's not a necessity because of the size of that pot. And you know, as we just saw, this calling range hit the flop pretty well. They have 57% equity. If he's thinking about their range, a lot of the calling range has plenty of broadways and stuff that hit a pair, hit a second pair, you know, hit some kind of a backdoor draws, and even ace high with a backdoor, even ace high with a gut shot, ace queen of hearts, that kind of a thing. So he could be concerned, doesn't want to throw good money in a bad spot to bluff, and he might be feeling the same thing. This guy actually 4-bet me. He could have aces or kings. Why would I want to bluff here? So they both might be checking all of their bluffs and all of their nuts on this board. So I'm just going to simply give both players 100% range, because nothing here is an automatic bluff. Not a single thing. I don't feel that it is, at least. If we look at the hero here, so let's look at this here. So 6 combos of sets, 6 combos of overpairs, great. And then top pairs, 27 combos that hit something pretty decent here. 27 out of 91. So he's only good here. He only hit something possibly worth going for value 1 out of every 3 times. This player hit something worth going for value. Let's see, a set. And even those top pairs are a little scary. The king queen is scary too. So he has 9 combos here of ace king, and then 3 combos of sets. So he only has 12 combos out of his 58 that could possibly be betting for value that would feel semi-comfortable with their hand. So I can see everyone just checking around on this board. It's not a necessity for anybody to be betting here. 100%, 50 combos now. And you might be asking, hey, if it's 100% of the previous range, why does it go from 57 to 50? Because this board suddenly blocks some of these combos up here, is why the number of combos possible goes down. 91, whoops, gotta highlight it. 100%, oh, yeah, obviously. Great. So what does that do to equities now? Now that we've have this board and we narrowed their ranges, which we didn't, we just set their ranges, we're at 43% and 57%, which is what we had prior. Now the turn gives us the lovely, 10 of diamonds, pair on the board, adding a possible flush draw and, well, no, I was going to say and a straight draw. We already had a 10. So pair on the board, putting full houses and flush draws potential out there. 644, slightly over half pot. It might be something having to do with the rake and the actual pot at the time. Maybe it is exactly half pot for when the actual hand happened. And then just a call. So on the 10 of diamonds, what decides to bet that didn't bet on the flop? Quads, totally betting here. I mean, you've got to start betting now if you want to get it in with your quads. And I'm down with that half pot bet. It feels like it could be on the plus side if you wanted to just build the pot a slight bit to make it so you have less than a pot behind in your stack. He could easily made it just $5 and gotten a call with everything that's calling this. But most likely, if anything's calling $5, it's also calling just half pot on such a scary board in a 4-bet pot. Quads, full houses are totally betting here. No straights. 3 of a kinds, I could definitely see them betting. Yeah, those semi-bluff Jack 10 and 10-9 that just suddenly hit trips in a 4-bet pot. He's pretty happy there. Over pairs, maybe checking the flop was an attempt to kind of control the pot on a scary board, and then just leading out on the 10, hoping that his opponent doesn't have a 10. I can see those betting here. It's not like they're always checking on this turn, so we've got to put those in the betting range. Pocket pair below top, sure. On that paired board, he chose not to bet on the flop, which he could see that as a weakness. So 1,000 here decides, hey, screw it. I'm going to throw out my C-bet bluff with my ace-5 and ace-4, whatever it might be. So he could be bluffing with all of this stuff. So pocket pair below, weak pair, ace high, no made hand. I think all of these could potentially, because he showed weakness in a 4-bet pot in position on the flop, he could potentially be betting them all. I would say value hands and bluff hands right here. So we're going to keep all the full range in. Now this player, what is he calling with? Oh, dagnabbit. I clicked it. Let's imagine we didn't see that. Maybe you missed it as you were watching this video. Clicking between windows. I did that once before in a hand reading practice. What a bummer. It's going to make it too easy to complete this one. But so quads are in his calling range because the pot is so big and in position, he can easily bet the rest of his stack on the river. Full house over pairs. Top pairs, yep, those are totally in for calling. Pocket pair below tops, queens and jacks, I can definitely see those calling. Not believing that the opponent hit a king or a 10 and just thinking that their queens and jacks can still be good. Weak pairs, ace highs I think are folding. Flush draws on a paired board. They are the nut flush. Oh, and they're also the royal flush possibles. Yeah, those are calling here. No flush draws, no open enders, no gutters. I don't like those for calling. It's a big pot. It's a big bet. I mean, maybe he would call, but he just has an ace high hand. Just a gut shot, only 4 outs. Maybe he can expect an ace to be a winner. So maybe he has like 7 outs for a third ace to come as well. But if you think about it, 7 outs is only 14% to hit. Right here, he needed 26%. It's a mathematically bad call. Why throw good money at bad? I wouldn't be calling with those gut shots. So let's keep those out of his range. So we've got 30 hands in the range here. And 63% of... Oh, I'll get to this in a sec. Oh, yeah. Real quick, let's take that off. Take that off. On the turn card, we have 46%. Hero has 46% equity on the turn. 10 of diamonds. 46 and 54. Okay, now our hero's turn range is still 100% because, like I said, with that passivity that the opponent showed on the flop, he could be betting 100% of his range for value and as a bluff. Possible. 87 combos now. River card, what comes? Let's see how it changes the action here. 6 of spades, wow, what a blank. What an absolute blank card. I mean, sure, I guess if somebody had 8-9 the whole time, which our hero does have 8-9, that did complete a straight, but oh, well, it is just a paired board. He could be betting for value with that straight draw coming in right there. Not expecting his opponent who didn't raise on the turn and didn't even bet the flop. You're not expecting him to have a full house right now. So I think 1,000, if he does have his straight, could be betting for value in this instance. Action comes. He shoves his full stack in, and of course, itsfuzzy decides to call. What is he shoving with here? Shoving quads, shoving full house, shoving his straight, shoving his 3 of a kind, his 10, sure, why not? Overpairs shoving here. The 6 seems inconsequential. If he was betting for value on the turn, he should be betting for value on the river and just getting it in, expecting the opponent to call with random kings, with random kings, like even queens or jacks too, that he got value on the turn with. So yeah, I can see him shoving with the overpair. The top pair. Are those often checking? They're not going to check fold, right? They're not check folding, so why not just shove it in right here? Hope that your king with your queen or your ace kicker actually beats your opponent. So I can see those top pairs. Pocket pair below tops, I'm not a big fan of those calling here. Your opponent could be calling easily on the river with just a king. So I don't see those betting. Weak pairs, just the 9s, no, not betting. Ace highs, no. I mean, he already threw one big bluff at it. Now he's risking his full stack, which is possible. But I'm going to say that this is his range. He's basically just value betting all in on the river. Now, what is this guy calling with? Calling with quads for sure. Calling with top pair. Yep, those various kings right there. Just not believing that his opponent has anything. Because of that turn check, I'm sorry, because of the flop check, he could easily see all of his kings being good. This guy could have queens, jacks, even 9s that he decided to just turn into a bluff. From his perspective, from my perspective, hand reading right now, I really don't think he would do that. But from his perspective, who knows? They're both lags. He might see his top pair, all of them being good, and he probably sees his pocket pair below tops, queens and jacks, as good as well. Weak pairs, ace highs are not calling. Yeah. So, as we range it right here, his calling range, 93% of his prior streets range has 65% equity. Whoops, I didn't do this. Did I? No, I didn't. 37% on the 6 of spades. Wow. So the villain in this hand has a really, really strong well, yeah, his range is much stronger than the hero's range in this hand. So what do we have here? Pocket queens. Ooh, king 10 suited. Whoa, with a full house. Nice. So was king 10 suited in the final range here? Full houses, king 10 suited. Nope. So pre-flop, I did not put king 10 suited in hero's range. And that's pretty cool to know that he's capable of 4-bet semi-bluffing king 10 suited, which means king jack, king queen suited is in his 4-bet semi-bluffing range. I don't know about ace 10. Maybe he'll just call with the suited aces, but these suited kings, it's a potential 4-bet semi-bluff hand now. Great. Capable of 4-bet semi-bluff, out of position with king 10 suited. That is good to know. And look at this 4-betting range down here. Aces, 9s through kings, ace king, ace 8, king 10, king jack, so he has 4-bet king jack, and ace queen or better. Cool beans, that's good to know about him. We were accurate in our villain's range, though. He did have the pocket queens, and, you know, I'll be honest, it did help having or seeing it, accidentally clicking it that one time, but I would have kept that in the whole way with his flop passive play and just a half pot bet on the turn. His queens could still be good quite often. As we saw, he had a 100% of his flop range when he bet that turn right there. So I can totally understand calling with the queens right there. Awesome. Well, that was a pretty good hand reading practice, I think. I love that. I love seeing that 1000 NA NL25 AGA is capable of 4-bet semi-bluffing king 10 suited. I would not have put that in his 4-bet semi-bluffing range. As you saw, I didn't. Yeah, so that was a good hand to see. And then It's Fuzzy. I love the 3-bet. I'm good with that. And I'm also good with calling. He might not know that much about this player. He might put him with his 4-bet on only kings or better and ace-king, which I don't think that's really a good call if you would only put your opponent on that, because you only beat, a little over half of his range if it's just ace kings that you beat. And then when suddenly the king hits. So my guess is It's Fuzzy knows knows quite a bit about 1000 NA NL25 AGA. And then so he called knowing that he has those kinds of hands in his 4-betting range. I would have called too with the pocket queens, knowing this same thing now for sure. So I'm glad I put it as a note, and I'm glad it's down here within his 4-betting range as well. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side for day, flip side being tomorrow, day 36 of 66. Take care.